And we're live. Welcome back, guys. This is going to be episode 4 of the FullBack Dive podcast. I'm just going to make sure that audio's been fine the last few. I'm not going to keep checking it. Keep wasting time. So I'm just going to jump right into it. As you guys probably see from the title, it is free agency grade time. I know free agency hasn't ended. We're still only a week into it, really. But I think it's, there's been a lot of movement. A lot of key moves have been made trade-wise, even since I last recorded the Deshaun Watson video a few days ago. So I'm just going to, give my thoughts on this first round. I will do overall off-season grades after the draft, things like that. But that's, a month and a bit away. So this is just my initial thoughts from, free agency. And let's just dive into it. There's a lot of good moves, a lot of bad moves, and a lot of kind of in the middle teams that haven't really done much in this first wave. But let's just jump into it. Jets, first team. They were really active when it opened. They got Laken Tomlinson, I think, in the first hour of free agency, really the legal tampering period really being open. Braxton Berrios, CJ Uzmoa, some good moves. And they even got Jordan Whitehead. You can't be mad at that. I'd give it a grade of B. There's still some issues on the team. They failed in landing Tyreek Hill, which there's a rumor they were never in the race. That's what Tyreek said. Probably were used for some leverage from Miami. Can't blame them. But yeah, you lost out on Tyreek, but the team is, it's starting to get an identity. The secondary especially got a lot of help. Helping Zach Wilson with Laken Tomlinson. Pretty big. I think it was a little bit of an overpay regardless. But overall, you can't hate what they've done in free agency. I give it a B. The Patriots, why not? It's been kind of a slower free agency period. It's been a lot of core retention. Trent Brown coming back, Bentley coming back. Two big guys. We traded Shaq Mason to Tampa Bay for about $6 million in cap and a 5th round pick. Not a good trade. And we re-signed James White. A few other good moves. There's more moves that can be had, but I'd say right now we're at about a B minus C plus range. I do like the strategy. I don't think it's a horrible strategy. Saving your cap for that second wave is something the Patriots do quite often. You can't do what you did last season every offseason. It just doesn't happen. I don't mind it. We still need to get a receiver, but I think if we even just get a receiver that can help Mac, maybe a replacement corner. We got Malcolm Butler, but I'm talking about maybe a little bit better on the corner in the draft. Kamar Elam will be one of those guys to watch. I know Evan Lazar is huge on him. But one of those guys like that, I think we're still in the playoff hunt. And honestly, I don't see a reason as to why Mac Jones doesn't take that step forward. He's got all the tools. Dolphins. Now, this is the one that I think a lot of people are probably going to be giving an A. I'm a little iffy on it. But Tyreek Hill, huge. Huge addition. Transforms the offense. Except they have one issue. And that's Tua. Can Tua be a good quarterback? We've seen him. He wins. He has a good winning percentage. We will give you that. But his arm is really questionable. Doesn't have the same escapability he had in college, really, because of that injury. They also reinforced the offense. Cedric Wilson, Teron Armstead, and Connor Williams. The objective is clear. Give Tua as many chances as he can to succeed. They're all in on him. Is that the right move? We'll have to see. But you can't deny the offense is going to be good. The weapons are great. It's just all comes down to can Tua execute and get the most out of Tyreek Hill, Cedric Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Parker if he doesn't get moved. But there's some rumors about him being moved. We'll see. Go from there. But I give it a B+. Again, you can't hate it. As a Patriots fan, I'd prefer it not to happen. But I'm not losing sleep over the Dolphins getting Tyreek Hill. I ain't losing sleep over it. The Bills. This is one that a lot of people love, and I don't get it. Again, you're going to say the Patriots bias, but I mean, just from a core conceptual standpoint, I don't get the deals. Let's go over the other names, then we'll get to Von Miller. O.J. Howard, Jordan Davis, and Case Keenum. Okay, those are really their top 3 guys that they signed. And then Von Miller. Listen, Von Miller's a great player. Top 10 edge rusher, you could say. He kind of struggled the first half when he was with Denver, and even the first few weeks in the Rams, he wasn't really taking chances until he finally, stepped forward in that playoff run. Huge. Is he worth a 3-year, what pretty much comes down to about a 3-year, $55-60 million? And that's a lot. It's a lot of money, a lot of guaranteed money to give someone who's 33. I'm not huge on it. If I was a Bills fan, yeah, you get a premier edge rusher, but how many years are you going to get him? 1? 2 if you're lucky. And if you get him for 3, then you buy a lottery ticket. I'm not huge on it. I give it a C+. The Bills are still really good. Just because you have a bad grade in the first wave of free agency doesn't mean your team's going to take a huge step back. It just means you weren't either that active or you didn't have the best plan. I'd give it a C+. I'm not huge on it. AFC North. We're going to go up north. Let's go with the Ravens. I actually don't mind their free agency. They've been quiet, but they've been quietly good. They're good at this. They're always good at this. Draft, free agency. This is where the Ravens shine is in the offseason. Patrick Ricard, huge get back. He helps the offense a lot more than people will ever admit. Morgan Moses, Michael Pierce, and Marcus Williams was the 3 big guys that I noticed in that period. I give it a B. Very solid, adding consistent players. That's what the Ravens need. They need stability. They kind of messed up the Zadarius Smith thing. I don't know what the issue with that is, whether it was money or physical. I don't know. But would that have helped? Definitely. But hey, the Ravens are still going to be really good. And the AFC North is going to be a bloodbath next season. And we'll go why in a little bit. Let's go Bengals. One of my better free agents and free agent periods. And the reason is because they signed 3 offensive linemen. 3 starters. Lyle Collins, Alex Kappa, Ted Cross, and they even got Hayden Hurst, which I think is a good little addition. He's going to replace C.J. Uzomah in that kind of 4th weapon on the offense, which isn't a bad thing for Hayden Hurst. He's pretty good in that role. I give it an A-. Listen, man, you got to help Burrow. That's really the core objective. Everyone knew. Coming into free agency, protect Burrow. The offensive line class is a little iffy. I'm not huge on it past round 1, and I don't think the Bengals will go offensive line round 1. I expect them to probably go more defense. Edge rusher, corner, maybe even a safety. Not huge on it on the offensive line past round 1. There's going to be some good guys, but the Bengals need guys that are going to impact the game now. And getting a guy like Ted Cross at center is going to help. And getting, Alex Kappa, who was, you could say he was the 4th best offensive lineman on Tampa Bay, but that Tampa Bay offensive line was good. And Lyle Collins is, top 15 right tackle. It's huge for Burrow. Even average offensive line play is a massive upgrade. Browns, Amari Cooper, Chase Winovich, Jakeem Grant are the 3 big names not named Watson. We've talked about Watson. You guys know my opinions on Watson by now. I've made it clear. I'm not going to keep talking about it. The only thing I'm going to say is it's a good free agency. The trade for Watson, morally, ethically, that is up for debate, and you probably won't hear a spiff of an argument from me if you say it's a horrible trade. I can't blame you. But from a football perspective, he's one of the top 6-7 quarterbacks in the league. And that's good for the Browns. A-. But again, like I've said, I don't like the way that it's been handled. I don't like the way that the Browns have helped him with this, avoiding a suspension or avoiding penalties in a suspension. Again, moving on. That's my thoughts on it. But hey, from a pure football perspective, it's a good move for the Browns. And then let's finish up the AFC North with the Steelers. Kind of a weird free agency. I don't mind it. Trubisky, James Daniels, Myles Jack, and Levi Wallace. Excuse me. They're going to be sneaky. They made the playoffs with Roethlisberger, who, let's be honest, Roethlisberger at the end of last season was not good. He was struggling, and it showed in every facet of his game. He just wasn't the same guy. Trubisky's an upgrade. As weird as that is to say, Trubisky is an upgrade. And he may not even be the starter. They may go rookie, Malik Wills. They probably need to trade up for that, but it's possible. They could be taking a Matt Corral type guy. I'm not huge on Corral. I'm not huge on any of the quarterbacks this year, frankly. But Trubisky, I think if you can make the playoffs with Pittsburgh, even in a harder AFC overall, with the AFC West buffing up, AFC East buffing up, with both of those combined, the Steelers are still going to be in contention. Mike Tomlin has never finished below 500. And to be honest, I don't see a reason why it's going to change this year. The draft may put them behind or ahead. We'll see. But as of right now, I think they're still a borderline playoff team. Let's go to the AFC South where, I started off with 2 really good divisions for free agency, and then, let's get into the AFC South. The Texans. The 2 biggest moves I can even really say is they signed a bunch of guys, but a lot of them are really, down to the roster depth guys, which you need, but in the first wave of free agency, and they're kind of paying a lot of money, a little iffy. Desmond King, and they traded for Blake Cashman. Good deals. D+. Listen, I know they got a huge haul for Watson, but I didn't really count that because he wasn't going to play for him anyway. You kind of knew they were going to get that type of trade package for Watson. Just not huge on Houston. I don't like the Lovie Smith hire. I don't think he's the right guy for the job in the long run. I think he probably should have just kept on Nick Coley. That's just my opinion. I think Nick Coley overachieved with that roster. I think he could have done it again. I just don't understand what Houston's direction is. I know they're going to probably build behind Davis Mills this year and then probably look to draft a quarterback next year, unless they think Mills can be the future guy. Just not a good move. They're going to be horrible, and I think the free agency, they've kind of shown they're fine with that. Let's go with the Colts. They traded for Matt Ryan. I think that happened before I recorded. Yeah, it happened after I recorded my last podcast. They got a third round. They traded a third round pick for Matt Ryan. Not bad. Re-signed Mo Alley Cox and traded for Yannick Ngakoue from the Raiders. I give it a B-. You can't hate it. Are the Colts contenders with Matt Ryan? Well, they're probably going to be a playoff team because they're in the AFC South, but are they contenders? Probably not. I don't see it. They did it with Carson Wentz last year. And I think this is kind of something that's not talked about enough. They got Carson Wentz, and then they kind of just stood pat. And they didn't, try to improve the team much on the offensive side of the ball. And if they do that with Matt Ryan as well, I don't think that offense with Matt Ryan is going to be that good, is any better than with Wentz. Is Matt Ryan a better quarterback than Wentz? Yes. Is that offense going to have any improvement besides Jonathan Taylor just being a beast? Probably not. Let's go with the Jags. This is one of the worst free agencies besides, I think, like 2 other teams. I hated this free agency for the Jags. It started wonderfully. The Foye Aliquam and Fukutashi from the Jets, great gets. Brandon Sheriff is an amazing offensive lineman. You can't hate that, right? Well, it took 2 moves, really, for them to just completely demolish their free agency. Just ruined it. Christian Kirk and Zay Jones are the only 2 names. They paid Christian Kirk $84 million over 4 years. Just stupid money. It reset the wide receiver market. It pretty much, in my opinion, forced the movement of 2 of the top receivers in the game. It pretty much forced the Packers. They were willing to pay Adams more, but Adams wanted the Raiders, so I guess you can't really say it forced that one, but it pretty much forced the Tyreek Hill one. Awful move, just terrible move. I give it a D+ of an overall free agency because they are better than what they had last year. But spending money for just the sake of spending money has never worked. You have to have a plan. And I don't see a plan in the Jaguars' moves. It just seems like they're just spending money to spend money. I'm not huge on it. One of the worst free agencies out there. Let's finish up the AFC South with the Titans. Robert Woods, Ben Jones, and Austin Hooper are the 3 guys you got to think about. They traded a 6 for, I think, Robert Woods. Cool. I give it a C. It's pretty average. I don't understand if the Titans think they're going to compete with the roster, but unless Derrick Henry just, breaks the rushing title, in the season, breaks the record and has 2,300 yards, I don't see the Titans being as competitive as they are in recent seasons. Tannehill has shown he's starting to regress, and overall, just as an offense, I don't see it outside of Derrick Henry. Give him a C. Move on. A.J. Brown's going to have a lot of work for him if they're going to be even. If they're going to make playoffs, A.J. Brown needs to break out in a big way. I'm talking 1,600 yards. Let's go to AFC West. This is, I think, by far, beside one team, the best free agency period we've seen from a division standpoint. Let's jump into the Broncos. Traded for Russell Wilson. That's the big guy. They also signed Randy Gregory, which kind of came out of left field. That was because the Cowboys just kind of mismanaged it, and they swooped in and offered him the same contract, and they got him. And they also signed Billy Turner, kind of an underrated guy, but thought I'd throw him in the video. I give it a B+. You can't be mad at it. Anytime you upgrade your quarterback, even with trading Noah Fant and the picks and Drew Lock, but it's not bad, man. The Broncos needed that. They needed that extra push. They were a good team last year, just with not good quarterback play. Get in, let Russell Wilson cook. Finally, let Russ cook, and hopefully he gets his MVP votes finally because he needs those damn MVP votes. I give it a B+. I like the move. This is the one team in the AFC West that I think got worse. And I wouldn't have given this grade until 2 days ago. Tyreek Hill trade. Yes, they signed Juju. Yes, they signed Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Good. They need wide receiver help now. The trade for Tyreek Hill, and I am not going to exaggerate this, is the worst move of the offseason for a team. F plus free agency. I despise it. I understand that Tyreek Hill, paying him $25 million a year sounds bad. I understand. It doesn't go with conventional NFL wisdom. But I hate to say it, but the Chiefs' success over the last 4 years has not been conventional. Mahomes was not supposed to be this good, but is he really good? Is he one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the league? Of course, he was not supposed to be this good, and not many experts even really thought it. Anyone who did was lying. Listen, Tyreek Hill is a huge part of that success. Teams are scared of Tyreek Hill. Teams will put 2 guys on him and then watch a safety over him. Not many guys get that attention. It's something you really haven't seen since Kelvin Johnson. Is he the best receiver in the NFL? No. Is there another receiver in this class in the NFL that compares to him? No. You can't replace that. You can sign 4 receivers. You're not going to get that same type of fear in a defense. Horrible trade for the Chiefs. The return, I don't care if they got 5, I don't care if they got all of the picks. It doesn't matter. They only got a late first, a second, and a bunch of mids. Horrible trade for the Chiefs. I hate it. Raiders. Let's go to a receiver team I like for the team. Devontae Adams, huge get. We've talked about that. Max Crosby, huge get. Getting him back in the building. Chandler Jones and Jayon Brown, massive additions. A-. There's not much to hate. They're the New England West. They keep adding Jakob Johnson, Brandon Bolden, Deron Harmon, all these guys. Patriots West, they're going to be solid this year. It really comes down to how good Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr are going to mesh. That's what you need. And if they mesh well, and him and Adam and Carr and Adam start going back to the Fresno State days, scary hours. I'm just going to say, it's not out of the realm of possibility. With a Broncos struggle and the Chargers not living up to expectations, that the Raiders win the AFC West. It's not out of the realm. Don't bank it, but if it happens, you heard it here first. And we're going to finish up with the Chargers, who's had the flashiest free agency, and coincidentally is my highest free agency grade. Mike Williams, J.C. Jackson, Gerald Everett, Khalil Mack. Add that to Joey Bosa, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen. You have a good team. And Derwin James. Sorry, Daryl. A+. There's really no way around it. They're all in. I love it. Is there a chance for it to flop? Of course, it's the Chargers. They don't have the best reputation of, living up to the success that they have planned for them. However, that Chargers team has some of the sickest talent in the NFL. And I will be lying my ass off if I can't say that I am so ready to watch them play football next season. It's going to be fun. Let's move to the NFC. So the AFC overall, they're the much stronger conference now. It's not even close. The AFC is a bloodbath. The NFC, on the other hand, is not. But that doesn't change how I grade the system. I grade them on the same scale, the AFC. I just think the NFC did a worse job in free agency. But let's jump into it. The Cowboys. I didn't like their free agency. I didn't like the Cowboys roster last year. I didn't like the way Mike McCarthy coached last year. So they re-signed everybody. They let Amari Cooper go. They couldn't pay him. They needed to re-sign DeMarcus Lawrence, Michael Gallup, Leighton Vander Esch, and Malik Hooker. I understand it. Good gets. C-. They're the same. And in the NFL, if you don't improve, you're getting worse. Just the way it goes. Could they improve in the draft? Of course. But that Zeke contract is really weighing down on him. And I'm glad Zeke got his money. That's always good to see. But it's really holding the Dallas back. And I think until that contract is off the books, Dallas is going to be handcuffed. Let's go to the Giants. A quiet free agency. This is Brian Daboll's first offseason as head coach. And he's shown he's taken the wait-and-see approach. Tyrod Taylor and Mark Lewinsky, the only 2 names added. Tyrod Taylor might be fighting for that starting job, and might be. You could say he's better than Daniel Jones. I wouldn't argue you. Mark Lewinsky, solid offensive lineman. I'd give it a D+. It's not horrible. They're just kind of waiting. It could really go up with a good draft and a good second wave. I'm just not huge on that wait-and-see approach, especially when the team's not that good. Eagles kind of took the same approach as Dallas, except they got a free agent. Jason Kelsey, Derek Barnett, Fletcher Cox, all re-signed, and then Hassan Reddick was their big guy. I give it a C, pretty average. You can't hate it from the Eagles' perspective. Getting Hassan Reddick, another guy that can get after that quarterback, that's been their MO the last 6 years. Get guys that get after the quarterback, take less pressure on your corners, and hope that your offense can get you some points. They're probably going to target wide receiver in this class. I think a lot of teams will be. If you need a receiver, this is the year to get him. I'm still huge Quez Watkins, USM guy. He's huge. And Devontae Smith, but they need a third guy in that receiving room. Jalen Reagor just ain't it. The Commanders, they traded for Carson Wentz, signed Andrew Norwell, and re-signed Bobby McCain. Those are the three guys. I give it a C+. Again, the Wentz thing didn't work out in Indy. I don't think it was all him. I think it was partially the team. But he needs to, this is really his last chance to be the guy for an NFL team. If he doesn't succeed here, that's pretty much it. I hope he does. Him and Rivera should mesh well. He does excel when he's out of the pocket, making things happen, and that's what Rivera likes in a quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see how those two mesh. I think it'll be fun. I think it's going to be a fun duo, and I think Wentz is going to finally have another year, and if he doesn't, sadly, that's probably it for him as a starter in the NFL. Let's go to the North, the NFC North. The Bears. Nah, one of the worst ones. Down there with the Chiefs, really. I didn't like it. Their two big guys are Lucas Patrick and Trevor Siemian, who just happened today. Give it a D-. They're not helping Fields. I hope they do. But Fields needs all the help he can get, and he just has not gotten that to start off. I'd give it a D-, and honestly, it was close to an F. Lions got DJ Chark, Mike Hughes, and Tracy Walker. Not bad. T+. They've shown they're rebuilding through the draft. They're still 2 years away. But Dan Campbell has shown he's got those guys playing, and I love it. So he's one of my favorite, one of the more entertaining coaches in the league, and someone I look up to. I think he is the type of coach I would like to be at the NFL level. Let's go with the Packers. Traded away Devontae Adams, re-signed Aaron Rodgers, and re-signed their two breakout stars, Devondre Campbell and Rasul Douglas. That's huge. I give it a B-. The Adams trade isn't the best. But there really isn't much to. It's not like they just refused to pay him, which then I would have severely knocked it down. They wanted to pay him. They offered him more money than the Raiders. But at the end of the day, it was about going to go play with his friend Derek Carr, and going to a place he wanted to go to. There's not much the Packers could have done. B-, but they need to get receivers. Bad. Vikings re-signed Kirk Cousins, signed Jordan Hicks, and got Zadarius Smith away from the Ravens. Not bad. B. Minnesota always seemed to have a good offseason and then just kind of not put it together. That's always been their struggle. New head coach this year, but we'll have to see. I'm cautiously optimistic that the Vikings can be good. I say that every year, and they always suck for me every year, so who knows. NFC South, yikes. The Falcons. They lost the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. They traded Matt Ryan. They are in a severe rebuild. I'm talking 3-4 years. If there's a team, an owner that is okay with that, it is Arthur Blank, one of the most patient guys in football. You could even say football history. He's patient. I don't know. Kyle Pitts is a phenomenal player. Top 5 tight end. They should have taken a quarterback. Whether it was Mac, Fields, it's turned into a blunder. It's just not a good move. I give it a C-. They really need to hit on some draft picks in order to bump this free agency grade anywhere close to a B. Let's look at the Panthers. Got re-signed DJ Moore, huge. Also got a few nice players. Austin Corbett, Matthew Iodonis, and re-signed Dante Jackson. I give it a C+. Very good free agency. Matt Rule, this is his put up or shut up year. Didn't perform last year. Had a great offseason. This is going to be his second offseason. If he can get a good draft class, but he can't put it together, I'm sorry, Rule, but I just don't see it happening after a third year. I wish everyone to succeed. Personally, I don't want to wish people not to succeed. I don't want to come off that way. But he needs to put up, and it's put up or shut up time. And if he can't, then Carolina's going to be looking for a new head coach. The Saints lost out on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. They were probably the number 2 team. I think it was Falcons, so they were the number 3 team. They cleared cap for him, but just didn't decide not to come. But that clearing of the cap actually is probably their best thing they've done in free agency. Re-signed Winston, got Marcus May from the Jets. Pretty good deals. I give it a C, pretty average. Clearing that cap, that was huge. Again, they keep pushing that cap back, but we keep saying they're going to run out of cap. They never do. They're wizards at it. Keep doing your thing. And the only team from the NFC South to really have a great free agency was Tampa Bay. Of course, Brady retired and came back, so that's huge. They got Shaq Mason to shore up that offensive line. Chris Godwin, Ryan Jensen coming back, retaining the core, going after a Super Bowl. They didn't really win it last year. They were, a play away. We'll see. B plus. Anytime you have Brady, you're a Super Bowl contender. It's that simple. And by the way, the Brady to Miami rumors, if it happens, I'd be very shocked. I don't think it has happened. It's just dumb rumors. He's going to Tampa Bay. And then we're going to finish off with the NFC West, and that'll be it for today's free agency grades. Cardinals, kind of a quiet free agency. James Conner, Zach Ertz, Max Williams. Again, just retaining the core. And the NFC, that should be good enough for a playoff spot. But can they overtake the Rams after the Rams free agency? Probably not. C-, not bad, not good. The Rams, re-signed Matthew Stafford, got Allen Robinson, and re-signed Joseph Noteboom. Huge. Yes, Andrew Whitworth is retiring. They're going to have a hole at left tackle, but Noteboom played well in Whitworth's absence. I give it a B+. They're ready for another Super Bowl run. It's really all down to can they beat Tampa Bay or Green Bay or the 49ers. 49ers, kind of another quiet free agency. It really depends what they do with Garoppolo. If they move him, if they keep him, we don't know. C-, they got Jermichael Hasty, Jeff Wilson, and Charvarius Ward away from the Chiefs. Not bad. Could have been better. Could have been worse. And this is the most confusing free agency for me. At least with the Chiefs, we know where they failed. And with the other team that I didn't have a good free agency, Bears, we get it. However, the Seahawks one confuses me. They traded Russell Wilson, and they got a huge package back for him, including players. Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Will Disley they got in free agency. Kyle Fuller they re-signed, and they re-signed Quandre Diggs. Sounds like a lot, right? There's an issue. We don't know what they're doing. I don't know if anyone knows what they're doing. Does Pete Carroll know? I don't know. Are they rebuilding? If they're rebuilding, why is Pete Carroll still there? Are they competing? If they're competing, why haven't they made a move for a quarterback? I don't know. They're in this weird limbo. Are they good enough to win games? Of course. Are they going to make playoffs? Probably not. Are they going to compete? Who knows? At the end of the day, it's a weird dynamic. They could be as bad as 3 wins and as good as 7 wins. We don't know. And I don't know what the direction is of this franchise. It's confusing. It's the only one where I'm legit baffled. But that's about it for the free agency grades. I kind of sped through the little half. I'll get tired of talking. In conclusion, man, if I'm any of these teams and I'm looking at what's left, there's a lot of names. Bobby Wagner, Odell, Tyrann Mathieu. All these guys are still available. The free agency isn't done. Actually, you could argue it just got started. It's been an insane for trades. The draft is in 6 weeks, so it's not over. So how we're going to do this is I am going to do off-season grades probably a few weeks after the draft. But now with the first wave of free agency over, we're getting into mock draft season, baby. I've been doing some tape watching, not a lot. I'm kind of busy with school and stuff, but I'm going to start doing some mock drafts. I'm going to start talking about some prospects that I like, that I dislike, that I think are sleepers, that I think are overrated. We're going to do all that good stuff. Hopefully, I will hit you guys up with a video early next week, Monday, Tuesday. Kind of the plan at the moment. I'll give you my first mock. I'll give you why I think each team will do what they're doing. Probably do about 3 or 4 mocks before the draft, as I should be able to live stream the draft. If not, all rounds, just the first round. We'll see how it goes. Talking about myself for an hour or 3 hours, maybe a little rough. May have to get some help for some of that, but I think overall, I'm happy I'm doing this. I'm starting. I'm not going to say anything else, but some things are moving and going in life that are pretty exciting. I'll keep you guys updated with that if that goes where I think it could go. I'm not going to start talking about it yet. Bad omen to count your chickens before they hatch, but I'm excited. Thank you guys for listening in. Half hour of me just rambling about free agency, and I will see you guys early next week as we discuss the first mock draft. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Twitter is in the description below. I have a TikTok, same as my YouTube and Twitter. Make sure you follow me on there. I still need to keep posting on that. Yeah, I'll do it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of the FullBack Dive Podcast.